Welcome to Keep Hustling, where we are going past the why to get to the how. I'm your host, the always hustling Aaron Gordon, aka NY Risk Advisor, aka Mr. Keep Hustling. In this podcast, we will be diving deep into the professional and personal successes of our guests to find out how they hustled through the most difficult times in their life and their development to achieve the success they've gotten to today. So buckle up for what hopes to be an amazing ride. Let's get to it. Welcome to Keep Hustling with my guest, Nigel Romany. Nigel, thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure. I'm honored to be on such a great show as this.
I appreciate you. We had a little bit of technical difficulties on mine to get started, but I'm happy you're here. As I say, literally in every single episode, but this episode is probably one of the most important times that everyone should actually listen. The loyal listeners should actually just heed my advice. Read the bio. I'm not going to go through your whole bio because there's a lot that I want to get to in this half hour, as we were discussing before, but everybody should read your bio so that they get the background of what I think is an inspirational hustle, in that it is rare that people dedicate their lives and their hustle mostly to trying to better others. And I think that, and it's an honor and a privilege to have you here because that's what you do. And I know that if not anybody else, I will definitely learn something. So I definitely appreciate you being here.
My pleasure.
So I want to jump in on this, and that is, love the background.
Let's dive right in.
Love the sports, but like, what made you want to be a coach? Now, coaches generally on podcasts are business coaches, right?
Yeah.
Life coaches. You got all the aspects of coaching, but it's like, I had some, and by the way, some of the most influential people in my life, and I actually spoke in my alma mater that I graduated from 19 years ago, the high school, yesterday. And I was thinking about the fact that my basketball coach was probably the most influential person in my high school. And so like, what made you want to be the coach? And then part of that means that put yourself in a position to really impact the lives of others, specifically young people.
Great question. It really started almost by, at first it was a fluke. When I look back on it, it was something meant to be. Turns out Dad was a coach. Didn't realize it. That's just what Dad did. Funny story about my dad from Trinidad. He coached hockey.
In Trinidad?
No, in Canada.
Oh, because I was going to say, I don't think they play hockey in Trinidad. That's like a cool running Jamaican bobsled team thing.
But here's the thing. Dude couldn't skate. Dude could not skate. Dude was on the ice with his boots. So that kind of, when I look back on it, I'm thinking, wow, it was instilled in me a long time ago. But for me, it started, I put the oldest into soccer. Coach didn't show up. I just jumped on the field. And just jumping on the field, working with the kids is just something. When you find something inside that you just enjoy doing, you just dive into it. So I dove into the soccer. And then as the years went on, she got into basketball. I've always watched ball, watched Michael and the Magic and so forth. And I started saying, this is a great sport. So I started learning about it, started studying it, getting the X and the O's. And I really became a student of the game. And I started coaching. But I realized that it's more than just more than X and O's with these kids. It's how can we get them to become better people? And that's really where my love of coaching came in. And that I've always said it's not about the W's. We all like the W's. I ain't denying that. But I found out you can give these kids so much more through the power of sport, because you teach them the resiliency, dedication, perseverance. People say it's just a game. To me, it's more than just a game. It's the lessons you learn from it. You look at people who, there's been studies about top executives who've played sports because they have that taught in them at an early age. The idea of time management, working together as a team. On a sidetrack, I don't think enough kids are in sports these days as they should be.
I was about to say that. Everybody likes to talk about the negative things of technology and handheld devices and how somewhat affordable technology has become. Therefore, it's accessible. Therefore, everyone can get to it. And I can tell you, we had video games in our house growing up. But it was not a replacement. Even just recreational sports. Forget about real organized sports. But
I'm not talking.
And by the way, I will say something to you. And I was talking to my brother about this the other day because we had a football game on Fridays. Asphalt Green. I grew up on 2nd Avenue in Manhattan. And actually the craziest day we played was September 12th, 2001, when schools closed after September 11th. And the whole city was a ghost town. But and I want to get more to life, but I will say that
Yeah, it's true.
the ability for a young person, 10, 11, 12, 13, 10 of those people of that age to arrive or to come together on a basketball court, or
Yeah,
12 of them on a football field, or 10
a
of them,
football field, wherever it is.
choose sides
Yeah.
and play cannot be taught.
No, I'm a teacher and I'm amazed.
And what I'm saying is, I think that there's more value in that than even organized sports. Like, hey, you're on the
Oh, yeah.
team. This is the written play. No, we're going to figure this out.
No,
Last
'cause
week you were on his team. Now you're on my team. By the way, last week this guy had the worst game of his life, and not today he can't miss.
yeah,
So
there's
I
too
think
much.
it's missing today for sure, because like,
There's too much. There's way too much structure. There's no pickup. There's no very few pickup games anymore. You used to drive down the street. I don't know if it's society or whatever, but people are up here in Canada. We've had people bringing lawsuits against people, nets on the street. Like we played ball hockey until the lights went out in the
I
middle of the road.
and we played in Central Park. I agree with you. I agree with you. I want to ask you. I want to deep dive into, and I want to start with a line from your bio that really touched me. It says as follows: that your work is driven to present a process-driven approach to self-defined greatness. My question is just simple. Can you unpack that for me?
Yeah.
What does that mean? You don't have to give us the approach. I'm just saying, what does it mean? What is the goal of that? And why is that missing today in the regular world?
In the regular world, because greatness is such a big word, but I want to break it down to everybody having their own level of greatness. Because everybody's going to talk about on these big talk shows how to get 1 million followers, how to lose 5,000 pounds, how to get a real estate home. For some people, it's about getting their first home. That might be their level of greatness.
Buying their first car, no matter how old it
Buying their
is.
first car. For some people, it's as simple as getting up and going for a walk or getting out of bed that morning. I want people to know, young and old, that you don't have to lose 500 pounds to be great. You just have to get up and define what your level is. Because too many of us, I talk about this in my talks, that I usually open up with, is we all want to fit in and we're afraid to be different, just a little bit different sometimes, because they don't want to stand out. I was watching King of Queens yesterday, interestingly enough, while I was on the cardio machine, and Kevin James was going for the delivery record, and everybody was picking on him, and he started going, oh geez, should I just blow this record because I don't want to be better than everybody else? Then he realized why he was doing it. It was for the customers. So he got that record. But people are reluctant to go out and get that record and do that because they don't want to stand out. But at the same time, so that's one level. But the other level is we all have to have a goal of some sort. We have to have something to strive for. And if you can define your own level of what makes you great, it's going to make your life so much more worthwhile. For me, it was dropping a whole whack of pounds for my level of greatness. For my teams, it's winning the next game or using a left-handed layup. It's just a matter of being able to define your own level of success. People say, well, did you win today? Like that's the first question we ask when someone has a game. Did you win? Well, we judge it too often by the scoreboard.
I agree with you 100%. I've gotten a lot of heat, and it's good for business, so I appreciate it. With the whole Keep Hustling brand and the Keep Hustling movement, I've said over and over on the podcast, and I'll say it hopefully for hundreds and hundreds more episodes. And that is that this podcast is about defining. My goal is to inspire everyone to define their own hustle,
yes,
and to chase it. I've used my wife as an example many times. I have 5 kids. You mentioned you have 4 daughters. I have 4 daughters and 1 son stuck in the middle there. And
poor guy.
And yeah, poor. But you know what? He went when his 4th sister was born, the second one under him. I told him he went from being the prince of the king, and having one probably wouldn't have helped him as much.
No.
Now he can guilt his mother because he's the only boy, and he could still be the only boy. And by the way, the brother who would have been 6 years younger than him wouldn't have been any use for him on the basketball court anyway.
Yeah,
because he wouldn't. So I think it actually worked out for him in the end. That's a digression, but You know, people say he doesn't work or she doesn't work or he doesn't work 60 hours a week or whatever. I say, spend a week with my wife, with my 5 little kids at home when I'm away on a business trip. You'll be running back to your desk. I promise. You will be running, dealing
Yeah.
with that. And that's hustle, and that's defining it, and that's what gives someone purpose and joy. And I think that so much so, and you're right, so often people get wedged in the status quo. I'll tell you, I'm involved in a youth sports league in Lakewood, New Jersey. We sponsor a team there, and this year the guy who runs the league, it's all different sports, from football, basketball, flag football, hockey, chess, and bowling. The guy convinces me this year, you know what? I think you should sponsor a bowling team. I said, it's same marketing, no problem. A kid on our team, I think 12-year-old kid, bowled the 300. If you saw the look on this kid's face, and by the way, I spoke to him after, you see the pictures, kid by no means looks or acts like an athlete. And by the way, that's why this guy told me, who runs these leagues, which is incredible, that's why he has chess and bowling for the kids who are not the super athletes, right?
Yeah.
That kid was the king. That kid who bowled the 300,
Yes.
I promise you, the cool guy who was on the football team wished he was him for a week.
Yeah.
And why? Because that guy just stuck to the bowling and did him, and
he
defined
did.
his hustle and chased it and did the best at it. So I am so passionate about what you just said.
Yeah. If you find your own passion, your own hustle, your own difference, it's going to change you. And when you change you, I don't want to get too philosophical there, but when you change you, you can change the world.
Why do you think people are too scared to do that? Why are we so stuck in the box in a world that is so, and I mean this seriously, and this is what I wanted to drill down on with you, in a world that is so into be your own self, find your own happiness, yet the happiness is what other people have defined as is supposed to be your happiness, and your goals are supposed to be the goals everyone else said. And I want to be clear, we're not talking about things that are illegal, immoral, that hurt.
No. We're talking
right?
about,
But I'm just saying, a person who says, I want to be the best, whatever. I want to be the best salesperson. I want to be the best manager. I want to be the best whatever. This is my goal. Why are people so scared to embrace that and to chase that?
I think at a younger age, it's because they don't want to stand out from their friends. They want to fit in with their friends. They're afraid to be singled out. I'll use a girl in my class. She's absolutely phenomenal in math. She's like 2 grades above everybody. She won an online contest I'm going to call it the Caribou Contest. I don't care. She won number 1 in the world. Number 1 in the world for her age group. We congratulated her. But I also said to the class, look, she doesn't want to be stood out. She doesn't want to be singled out. Let's just give her a small clap. And we gave her a small clap. And I think ever since that day, she's just been talking a lot more in class because I don't single her out. Well, I do. I lie. I single her out every day. We do math questions every day on the board. When I'm done them, I turn around and I say, am I right? And she tells me whether I'm right or I'm wrong. But I'm letting her fulfill her passion. And she saw eventually that it was okay to be exceptional in math.
I mean, hello. That's like, and if she didn't want to be that person, she didn't have to chase that. But what about the person who's passionate about that? Like Albert Einstein was a genius.
Yeah.
He was not I assume, the most savvy businessman to ever live or the best athlete.
No, but he was probably ridiculed and mocked as a kid.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. So the kids can be cruel.
So how can parents inspire their kids to, meaning like that girl, let's use her as an example, right?
Yeah.
Let's assume that her parents recognize her gift. What should we be doing as parents and as influential people in children's lives, coaches, teachers?
I think we need to encourage these kids, continue to encourage them and challenge them. I always tell my parents at the end of the season, give your kids opportunities to excel.
Do you think the parents are too soft on their kids? Are you saying that the parents, they don't push their kids because they're worried, or?
I think some are afraid to let their kids fail. We got the whole snowplow, never mind the helicopter parents. We got the snowplow parents who just plow everything out of the way. And they're afraid to let their kids fail. Let the kids fail. Let them get up. Let them help themselves up. How many times does a kid fall and we're the first ones to jump over there to help them up?
You just reminded me, I don't know why this came to me. I think that there's a great scene, and I think it's Remember the Titans, but I could be wrong, where a fight breaks out in practice.
Yeah. And they say, let them
over the water. To jump in.
Over the water. Yeah.
Right? And they're about to jump. I don't know why this is, but I think that's meaning They're about to jump in. Again, obviously, nobody's in a parking lot pulling a gun and shooting
No, no,
people. And,
no. They were just fighting
and
over the
they were
water.
fighting and let them go.
Let them
Let it.
go.
And
Let
it's
them
like,
work it out.
what? You're about to let kids fight? Like, what do you mean? There's been this tension building up for the last X number of weeks in the movie, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, let them fight, let them fall, let them scrape the knee. Again, don't bike ride without a helmet.
No.
But let them scrape the knee.
Let them scrape the knee. And in the fight, it was let them work it out themselves. Let them deal with it.
And by the way, I don't know why I just thought of this, but this is amazing. This is you're inspiring me a lot. But even if they don't work it out, if they do work it out, great. They're 10 steps ahead, right? But if they don't work it out, you're gonna have the same conversation you have with them if they didn't even try to work it out.
Yeah.
So therefore, you're no further behind, giving them that opportunity to try to.
Yeah, let them fail. Let them fail. Be there to pick them up, but let them fail. Challenge them to do something that they didn't do before. And you know what? You got to be honest with these kids too, because let them know that's not always going to be roses and sunshine. It's not always going to be, but let them know that no matter what happens, you're there. You're loving them, but you're letting them be.
And by the way, that's how you get through the tough times, right? Is that I haven't been through all of life or as much of life as you have, or have had the kind of experiences that you have to be able to influence others. But one thing that I've experienced in trauma, in pain, in difficult times is if you surround yourself with people that will pick you up, nothing is impossible.
Yeah.
Community. And that's another thing, by the way, I think that unfortunately the world is losing. We got to get back to is that community. The same thing that gets to the kids who you grew up with on your, I had a minor personal issue last week and I needed some advice. And I called someone who I grew up with, who I probably have not had a serious conversation other than passing them in the street once in the last 30 years, 20 years, like a nod. And I literally called this guy and he jumped right in and helped me. And I said to my wife and kids when I got home, I told my wife what was going on. And I said to my kids, and I want to tell you something. Obviously, you should always continue to make friends. And we moved to a different community than my wife and I grew up in. And we, settled here with our kids. And that requires making new friends. But there's something about those people that you grew up with, that your life was formed with, on the block, in the building, that like 25 years later, it's literally unbreakable. It's crazy. And that's also part of what I think we're losing today, and what's negatively impacting us. Because if you just sit inside all day, you go to the school bus, you hang out with the same 4 kids, you play the same video games, and you come back. By the way, when you get together with your friends, you both sit on opposite sides of the. It's like husbands and wives. Now you sit on the opposite side of the room with your tablets,
with your phones.
Why would you call them? You might as well just talk to Siri.
Yeah, and there's like the community, and that's where we get back to the whole sports again, because you get guys you grew up with, guys you played hockey with, guys you played ball with, whatever sport it is. Those are the guys that you're teammates for life. You could bang into an old teammate 20 years down the road and, hey, how you doing? And you're still friends. And you could meet them later. Yeah, I remember you. Yeah, we went to school together and we hung. That's what community does. And that's why sports is so powerful that eventually that'll probably be my third topic down the road is why we need sports back in, because kids need to be able to learn to get along with I'm not going to say strangers, but new people.
Strangers. No. What about, and the parents are going to tell me, what about you go to the park?
Yeah.
You go to the park with 3 friends. There's a pickup game. You call next. You take one guy off the losers, because you and 3, in my example, there's your 4 guys, 4 girls. Take one guy off the losers. You do not know a single soul. They're bigger than you. They're better than you. They're stronger than you. And you still play for an hour.
Yeah.
What about that? How many life lessons, how much resilience, how much communication, how much trust, how much, and by the way, we're not even talking about the fact that with this, we've also solved one of the biggest crises that we're dealing with today in our world, which is obesity and kids not getting off the couch. By the way, we didn't even get to the physical part. That's not for this podcast. We're not even there yet, right?
That's a seminar.
That's right. But I'm saying, I think
seminar.
And so how can we inspire kids to do it? How can we inspire kids who have been told, who feel their whole life that video games are better, that being alone is better, that they don't need the community, that the risk of the hustle is not worth it? How can we inspire them to do it?
Yeah, I wish there was a magic answer, but I'd probably say let's just get them involved in sports, get them involved in something. And yeah, let's clarify this too. It doesn't always have to be sports. Out of my 4 daughters, I got one who's involved in dramatic arts. She's on stage singing. and she was away from it for a couple years. She got back into it last fall, I think, or this summer, and she's happy. She's happy again. She's happy being part of a community, doing what she loves.
I
She
think what you're saying is, correct me if I'm wrong, because I want to get away. You're right. It's not just sports. I think it's to find your hustle and find the community that can help you thrive in that.
Yes.
You want to be the best. You want to be the best singer. Great. Find the community. Don't do the voice lesson on YouTube. Find the community. Get involved in it, and get involved in that. I'm going backwards now on the podcast, but I was thinking about something else that I wanted to ask you. Your story, as I said, everyone should read the bio. Is an incredible story. I know you've been through the ups and downs of life. Usually I open with this, but I just was just so excited to talk about defining the hustle that I got sidetracked. What do you think was the most influential moment or experience in your life, positive or negative? And how did that really inspire you to be as passionate as you are about this subject?
I think it was the passing of mom and dad. It was late in my life. I've always been passionate, but I think I found purpose after mom and dad passed. And my daughter said, "Take care of yourself, dad." I've always fought with the weight issue. I was almost 300 pounds at one
You
point.
don't look it.
I dropped 80 pounds just by dedicating myself to eating right and exercising properly. And quite frankly, doing everything that I would preach and talk about in the past. I've been known as coach forever, but I finally actually said, get your butt in gear and live it. And it was during that I said, I got to share this passion with others. I got to share this knowledge that I have with others on a broader scale than just the classrooms and the basketball court.
What was it
Because,
like when you realized? And if this comes out wrong, I apologize. So I may have to
go ahead,
redefine the
go ahead.
question. But that you said, you had been preaching this for so long, yet you weren't living it. What was it like when you left the quote unquote being a fake? And I don't mean that in a bad way,
No,
but
no,
like
and that's true. No, go for it.
when the moment that you looked in the mirror and said, "I'm coach from the mouth, but I'm also," that had to
I'm
be
living
like
it.
so that more empowering than anything else. Was like, I'm coach and I'm coach.
Yeah, it was probably a relief because I haven't said this before, but I've always had a dream of being a motivational speaker. Okay, but I could not get on stage and weigh 300. I'm just going to call it. I could not get on stage at 300 pounds
Talk about sports. Talk
and
about
tell
embracing
people
sports.
to work hard and have a good mindset when I'm sitting here at 300. I needed to prove it.
Well, I love that. And I think and the crazy part is I think that when people really lean into that and really internalize that definition of the hustle that they've even spoken about, or that, by the way, I believe that every person, when they reach past the teens, right? I think little kids probably not.
Yeah.
Inside, they really know what it is. Like they really know what their passion is. It is now easier than ever to provide for your family while embracing your passion. And again, my passion was to be an NBA basketball player. I realized that wasn't happening. So obviously, a person has to be realistic, but every person knows what's inside of them, what's fulfilling. And for some people, I was talking to someone today, and they said to me, they made a minor sales pitch in their business, and they said, "I have no idea how you spend your life in sales." Like I was torn up about it. And he said, and I know because when I hear you on the phone, it gives you the energy. I see the days when you have when I hear you on the phone, the rest of the day you're bopping around. And for me, it's like, I feel like I need a nap. So different people, that's what he said. So for different people, I think but you know what it is. And I think when people don't hide from it and they embrace it, that's when the real magic happens.
Yeah, so that's what happened was just I had to live it. I couldn't be authentic and say, "Look, go ahead and do this, do that," when I wasn't living it.
I love that.
I've worked hard my whole life, no doubt about it, but I didn't always. I fought with the way I was amazed at what happened when you actually sat down and worked with somebody. Like my first day, I sat down with my trainer and I learned so much my very first day. And that I would go home, like I would work out and I'd go home and have a shake, a protein shake, get my protein in there, and I put my fruits in there. Because we all know fruits and vegetables are good for you. Yay, rah, rah, rah. Guess what? Do you know fruits have carbohydrates in them?
Sorry. Carbs and insulin spike, yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, I'm on it. I didn't know. So I'm sitting here working out, and I'm having probably 400 carbs a day because I'm throwing all these fruits in, thinking I'm being a good. And she said, "Nigel, do you know your carbs are in fruit?" I said, "No." So now I do spinach, right? But it's because she taught me.
And that also comes from a willingness to learn. And I think that's
That's the problem with the internet. That's one of the problems with the internet.
is a person who's willing to learn will never be behind.
Yeah, and my trainer, I got to give her a shout out because we work in the same school. She's on maternity now, but I said to her, you're going to work with me on one condition. You're going to treat me like a client, not like a friend. She said, deal, because I didn't want her to go easy on me.
For sure.
I didn't want her to go easy on me.
Coach, this has been one of my favorite episodes. No offense to the other guests we've had, but this is really, I feel like I'm ready to go. We have a closing tradition on our podcast where we ask our guests to leave us with their favorite motivational and inspirational quote. I urge everyone to follow Coach Romany on all the platforms. You'll be inspired. I'm inspired. Really, thank you again for being here. Thank you for sticking through some minor technical difficulties.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Outset. And with that, I will again ask your favorite motivational, inspirational quote, what it means to your hustle, and turn the floor over to you.
My favorite quote, I start all my speeches off with it. Here it goes. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us.
I love that.
To me, that means just go out there and be the most powerful person you can be. Don't worry about what others think, because it ends with, when you let your light shine, you let other people manifest theirs as well. I messed up the last line, but that's okay. But by you being your best and showing other people that, yeah, I'm great, gives them permission to be great as well. So just go out there and be you. Damn it.
100%. And keep hustling. This has been another episode of Keep Hustling. Do well by doing good, and remember to always keep hustling. All right, hustlers, that brings us to the end of another fantastic episode. Thank you for listening. The listeners are the most important part of this show. If you like what you heard, please leave us a review wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more listeners. Plus, be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. We have some amazing guests and topics lined up for you, and we don't want you to miss out. And finally, if you have any suggestions, comments, or even just want to say hello, please feel free to reach out to us on all social media platforms. We are Keep Hustling Pod on Instagram, X, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We would love to hear from you to continue the conversation. Thanks again for tuning in and supporting our podcast. We truly appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, stay curious, stay hungry, and keep hustling.